We are now live. Go ahead and check it on your side, just in case.
Yo, yo, checking.
Awesome. And as for checking if it's cross-posting, I'm just pulling it up real quickly. But for anyone joining us, this is Sam Day Harmet from the ensemble. Would you call yourselves an ensemble or a band?
We are both those things.
Ensemble and or band/band.
Cult, autonomous, anarcho-syndicalist, commune. We're all those things.
Exactly. I appreciate the you know folks knowing exactly what they're getting into. I just realized your face was hidden behind a logo. I'm sorry, you are no longer hidden behind a logo. Um,
Very nice, very
yeah.
nice.
So tell us a little bit about what you're presenting this evening.
So tonight we're going to be doing some live scored cartoons. We're drawing from Fleischer Studios' 1930s cartoons. A lot of people might know them from Betty Boop, Coco the Clown, Popeye, though we're not actually doing any Popeye tonight. But they were known for being sort of the slightly more perverse counterpoint to Disney Studios in the 1930s. A lot of their cartoons were kind of weirdly sexual and violent and strange, often kind of geared a little bit more towards adult audiences. And yeah, I mean, we've been live scoring for a while. We've done like a number of like actual live in person live scores over the last few years, and it just seemed like a format that was well suited to our new online lives.
Awesome. Yeah. And how did you stumble across these particular cartoons?
Just the magic of going down the YouTube wormhole, really. I think this began actually with some Halloween live score cartoon things that we'd done in previous years. We have like a little tradition that we've done the last couple Halloweens where we've played spooky cartoons and live scored them at the Jalopy Theater. And Disney has some good spooky cartoons, like Skeleton Dance, kind of a famous one. But we got into the Fleischer Studios cartoons through that, and theirs were kind of consistently the weirdest and most twisted.
Twisted in what way?
Well, I mean, just like sort of psychedelic in a way. In comparison to the Disney ones, definitely more overtly sexual and kind of like inappropriate for small children. Um, and I don't know. I mean, like it's generally a pretty like zany and weird animation style. There's I don't know, like if you're like of the generation like me that grew up with like Ren and Stimpy and stuff, you can definitely see some of the sort of like precursors to that in the Fleischer Studios style.
Interesting. And what do you think that excuse me, if you know the historical context, what do you think was their thinking on being that kind of out there for cartoons at the time? Because presumably they had to have been, I would be guessing, making a conscious thought that this is not for children.
Yeah. I get the impression it was just kind of out of the Fleischer's own kind of interest in aesthetic preferences. They were like they were two brothers, Max and Dave, who worked together, and they both had just like a really quirky aesthetic sensibility. I mean, even from their really early cartoons in the 20s, there's just like there's a lot of humor and a lot of absurdity, and it kind of felt like they were just kind of chasing their own vision, and the sort of the world met them wherever they were, until it didn't, and then their studio kind of fell apart in the late 30s. But
Oh my goodness. And do you feel like those cartoons had a great influence on later work? And if so, when and where?
well, I'm no like cartoon expert, but certainly like they were one of the big studios at the time, and I'm sure any animator who's coming up in the 30s would have been consuming a lot of Fleischer's Brothers and sort of taking in their whole world. And definitely Disney, like Hey, look at that. It's working. And Disney ripped them off a lot, like famously and like, pretty openly.
That's yeah, and that's definitely a troubling and strange thing. Is that with a lot of these techniques and artistic directions, I suppose things like rotoscoping, I think sometimes get miscredited to people. What is the process like bringing together a live score with your ensemble mates, especially when you're not even in the same location?
Well, I think what drew me to doing this right now is that it is something where we can be a little bit more flexible in doing it in different locations. Because it is totally improvised. It's all live, free improvisation. So basically, we're using the cartoon as a sort of visual graphic score, and we're responding to that. And even though there's these issues of lag that we're all battling with in the video chat format, because it's something that can be a little bit more atmospheric, a film score, the little lag issues are something that you can kind of work around. And even if there's a sort of like slight delay in our time of the audio that we're getting, we're still all looking at the same visual score and still responding to that. So it's a really nice way to sort of organize improvisation from different locations.
That's awesome. And how do you how do you begin to think of who is leading, or is a particular expression beginning the experience, or how do you guys go about mediating three creative powers together?
I think it's pretty non-hierarchical, I mean, it's like having a conversation between three people, and there's give and take, and there's certain moments where somebody's coming more into the foreground and the others might step back a little bit. And I will say, like, doing it over this format, we did find like we had to leave a little bit more space than we would normally live. Just because, in these sort of in Skype and Zoom, you have a lot of things happening at once, things get a little bit muddy. So we were finding we compositionally just had to think with like a little bit more space than normally when we can get a little bit more dense with material.
Awesome. And just to ask you, just for our knowledge here, just to excuse me for anyone listening, a sidebar from the interview, we're essentially doing this interview both to promote your movie night tonight on Facebook Live, both here and on the, excuse me, both on the Benno Facebook as well as the Astroturf Noise Facebook, Facebook Live in both locations. Right now, I just want to test a quick feature that we'll be using tonight. Do you see the broadcast comment on your screen, Sam?
No, but I'm not watching on Facebook. I'm just watching over Skype.
No, right, totally. Yeah, I just wanted to check if it gives me the option on my side to basically share it with you, or rather to share it. I guess it's visible in the broadcast and not in the. It doesn't bounce to Skype, which that makes sense. So, but moving forward, can you tell me a little bit about your style and how you discovered it? Because you're a really interesting and eclectic musician, drawing on a lot of different influences and a lot of different artistic idioms and a great breadth of knowledge. In particular, right now, referring to your mandolin playing and electric mandolin and your use of effects, which I find is pretty atypical and unique. How did you land on that?
Well, I guess I had a background as a guitarist before I became a mandolin player. So from the time I was like a high schooler, I was sort of toying with guitar pedals a little bit. But I don't know, like at least since my college years, mandolin sort of became the main instrument. And initially, I was doing a lot of folk music. I was doing bluegrass and klezmer and different folk styles. Um, but then as I got more into improvised music and free jazz and things like that, so much of that music is like trying to take the texture of an instrument in kind of surprising and different directions. and the pedals just open up such a big range of possibilities. So, as I was kind of in a free improv setting, thinking about ways of expanding the sound of the mandolin, the pedals were kind of a natural place to go. And then, over the years, it's just been like a gradual process of accumulating new toys and new fun little electronic noisemakers.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome.
Oh, we got a question that popped up.
Very good.
Did you see that, Lauren?
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, my mandolin is a Weber Bitterroot. It is. It's kind of a classic, straightforward bluegrass mandolin, but it's got a K&K twin pickup in it, which is it's a pretty nice hot pickup, and I send that into my pedal board and then into an amp, and that's kind of my usual setup for Astroturf noise.
Awesome. And to be clear, Jerry unfortunately is not a real person. I just as a test for this evening sent to Sam just now. Jerry asks, "What kind of mandolin do you play?" Because although I can see how to share it in the broadcast, I'm realizing I'm going to have to text things directly to you within the Skype chat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was imagining you would cut and paste from Facebook. I'm so sad to find that Jerry's not a real person.
Right. Poor Jerry. Jerry is very existential, particularly since he does not exist.
Yeah, fair. I feel it for you, Jerry. I feel for you.
I feel like that's a good note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us and for creating this test environment for tonight as well. For those of you listening, please come to Astroturf Noise's Facebook page or the Benno Facebook page for Facebook Live tonight at 8:30 for the movie night with Astroturf Noise. It's a little confusing as to how to access a live video. Sometimes it's within the notifications of your Facebook browser or app, but if not, you go directly to the Astroturf Noise Facebook page or the Benno Facebook page. You scroll all the way down to a horizontal bar that reads video, and it will tell you eventually there will be a video that says live with red around it in the top left corner, and that's how you access it. Unfortunately, I don't know an easier way to find a Facebook Live video. Do you by any chance, Sam?
Yeah, that's the only way I know to do it.
It's pretty confusing, right? I don't know how it's.
They could streamline a little bit. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that.
Yeah, to me, it's unclear, like how better for people to locate it. I think possibly we can just ourselves manually during the broadcast go in and maybe pin it is one thought, but
yeah,
sure.
and ultimately when Facebook is installed in our brains, that'll make it much easier.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll get there in time.
Thank goodness for Elon Musk and the future before us.
Yes.
Real quickly, leave us on a high note. In your greatest estimation, how do you suppose one pronounces Elon and Grimes's child's name?
Wow, that's a really good question. I have to see it written out again. I don't remember exactly what it was. Elon Musk kid. Let's find out.
Crucial pop culture knowledge.
Okay, right. I'm gonna go with Axie A12, but maybe just Axie for short.
Axie sounds like a pretty good name, actually.
It's pretty good, right?
It's
yeah.
Really not bad. They also, though, sound as if they might be a friend of Trinity's from The Matrix. Like we're going to need these keys and also maybe a way to hack into this XYZ system. Oh, we better call Axie.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this child will either save or destroy our planet.
Yeah, lots of messianic feels with that name.
Yeah.
Especially the way it's spelled out. They're just prime material for the next Ex Machina film, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Lots of black leather involved, I'd imagine.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah. Interesting times we live in.
Interesting times. That's a good way of putting it. And once again, for anyone listening, tonight, both on the Astroturf Noise Facebook page as well as on the Benno Facebook page, you can access at 8:30 o'clock tonight here with Sam from Astroturf Noise, the movie night. And it looks like you can pin it to the top, but also it looks like that might not really do much. So good luck finding it within the Facebook pages. I think it will work. Yeah. See you tonight. Yeah, see you tonight.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for
Grazie,
chatting.
Lauren.
Thank you. Have a good night. Yeah.
Ciao.
Afternoon rather. See you tonight. Yeah. Ciao.